happy Wednesday. Valerie Hunt with Ask Me Anything. Hold on, I'm a little crooked. Welcome. So I had some great questions come in. So if today's your first day, hi. This is all about coming in and learning how to run pain-free. And so usually people ask me questions either about some kind of running injury or just anything going on in their run. So the question for this week was really about breathing. And someone said I get side stitches when I when I run. So what is it? What do I do? So let's just first talk for a second about what happens when I run that makes me need to breathe more, right? So running itself is a cardiovascular activity, or should be. And you laugh, or I'm laughing, only because usually when I help people with their running, so many people are using so much unneeded energy in their run, right? So what we want to do, and for most of us, sorry, my shoe came out tight. For most of us, when we run, really our intent is cardio, right? I want to go for a run. I want to work the heart and lungs and feel really good. So if I'm running, and I'm going running, and all of a sudden I have a side stitch or it's hard to breathe, then the first thing is that there's tension. Tension is what causes anything, right? So if my heart rate's up, or I'm trying to run faster than I can maybe at the moment, so then there's tension. By the way, they don't really exactly know, right, what causes these side stitches. There's all kinds of theories, and then there's all kinds of solutions. I ran a marathon one time and I got a side stitch, and I said it out loud, and I kid you not, like everyone around me immediately was yelling at me like what works for them. I heard things like breathe out every 2 steps, or breathe in on every 3rd step, or hold your arm up, just all kinds of, everyone will try anything. Eat mustard packets. I think there's one called Hot Shot or something like a habanero pepper. And I thought, I'm just gonna try to relax my diaphragm and exhale. One of the things that I find is that, like anything else, if I don't practice what's gonna happen while I run, then how will I handle it during the run? Does that make sense? So for example, I teach the action of running, right? So I teach people that you're supposed to pull your foot up from the ground when you run, and you've got to hold your ears, shoulders, hips in line. So then you practice pulling your foot up to what's called the running pose, the figure 4. So while I'm here practicing, I can, feel it, and my knees are bent, and then I can take it to the next step where I'm practicing how it will feel while I'm running, which will feel like this. I'll be pulling, right? So I'm practicing what's gonna happen when I run. Now right here in place, like see I'm talking to you and I'm pulling, but if I just kept doing this, my heart rate's gonna go up a little bit, I'm working, and you're gonna hear that I'm gonna start to have to breathe a little bit more often. So this is really cool, but I'll give you a couple tips. One, when you're running and your feet start to pull up from the ground, obviously you're using, your muscles are working, your body's working. So your breath needs to match the work. So for a lot of people, when they start running, they either increase tension, like in their upper body, like all of a sudden they're running and you've seen people like their shoulders are up here and their arms are doing all this swinging, and all of a sudden they start to feel like, oh, I need to breathe. And then the first response a lot of times is like over breathing, like, and that's so tiring. Like that's also another extra energy, right? So all of a sudden you're like, okay, wait a minute. Now my side hurts and I just feel off. So one of the things I would train or use in my practice would be a way to feel, how do I breathe while I'm running? So if I'm just practicing right here, like I always do, and then to teach, and then I take off running, so in your run, start to feel it, just in place, like relax. My shoulders are relaxed, my arms are relaxed, and then feel how you're breathing right now. So I run in a cadence of up, up, up. 1, 2, 3. Up, 2, 3, up, 2, 3, up, 2, 3, up, 2, 3. That's my cadence. Now, if anyone knows anything about metronomes, how many beats are there? There's really 4, right? Up, 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 up. It's really 4. So I add a breath. Up, 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 and I exhale. Now, I'm not saying that, but just right here in place, start a breathing pattern so that when you're running and you start to need more air, you've already thought about that in your practice. So then when you're running, it should be part of what you're doing. It's part of your rhythm. So you're pulling, and somewhere in your gait, you're just letting it happen. Breathing is the oldest, most natural reflex we have. Do not try to control it. So if you try to hold it, you're like suffocating. And a lot of times we have side stitches because either we are trying to run with more effort than we need, meaning you might be pushing or reaching or just working too hard and the body cannot physically keep up with that, or you're actually running really fast and you doing something like not matching your breath to your run, so then the diaphragm like basically spasms. One of the big things I see in people is they're usually like bent, so then they don't have the space to really expand. So remember, when you breathe, it's out to the side. So when you're actually breathing, goes this way out, right? This is these sideways. And you had said in your question, I've tried it all. The nose breathing, the mouth breathing, the nothing works. And again, it's because you're trying to control your breathing. Let go and control your run. Control your run, let your breathing go. When you see like elite runners and these professional runners, and if you couldn't see them from the neck down, they don't look like they're just grimacing or over breathing, because they have trained in their run how to basically relax all of this so that there's ability for the lungs to expand. So I would say do a breath drill like I just talked about. Up, 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 exhale, and you can physically do it as a drill and then relax into your run. So I've had them before and I know it's no fun at all. So there's my little thing. All right, here's another question. Any advice for ankle impingement, and what amount of strength training for my legs? How many times a week? My legs get tired, my cadence drops when I run. Okay, that's 2 great questions. So ankle impingement, I'm not sure what you're already doing for the ankle, but I suggest doing very basic ankle exercises, right? So the ankle itself is a rotation joint, right? So ankle circles are gonna be very simple to start with. The ankle goes out this way, the ankle goes out this way, right? So moving the ankle around its normal range. So if you go to the Runner X Reboot, we've got this great, we have a YouTube channel, it's got the reboot on it, or I think you can even hashtag on their ankles. I do a lot of very simple, but just consistent ankle exercises. So, if something's, obviously guys, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a PT, so I just keep everything very basic. I've worked, of course, with a lot of PTs and a lot of people in and out of PT, but you need to be able, to get to a place, and I've worked with people that had like rods in their ankles, so then you're limiting in that range of motion, so then what? You've got to work around the range of motion you have and do self-massage or use a soft ball to break up any scar tissue to make sure you can actually keep increasing that range of motion, right? So I do ankle openers this way. I do where I curl my toes under. I do this a lot too. So from here, can I sit back and then come back flat? You see, I do a lot of stuff for my feet and my ankles, but I start just very simple with what I can, just circles. When you're running, what's really cool, guys, just take your hand for just a second and put it underneath your forearm like this and go like that. You see, we didn't warm up for that. We didn't say, hey, we're going to do this wrist exercise. But if you take away support, meaning I put the support under my forearm and you let gravity take over, you see, there's no effort in that. So in running, when my foot is lifted, it's the same. It's completely relaxed. What helps it relax? Yes, mobility exercises for sure, but also your mind. If I don't think about this foot and let it just hang, it will relax. Muscles only contract and release, right? And joints aren't active otherwise unless they've got body weight on them. So when this foot is lifted in the air, there's no work in that foot at all. The hamstring, guys, it's really cool. When you run, okay, ideally, only one foot's on the ground, right? But I can't balance like that. All right, this foot comes down onto the ground. Gravity brings this foot down, okay? Your body weight is over the foot. This foot's relaxed. But as you fall forward, so the body itself is traveling, the foot unweighs, and when it pulls from the ground, so I'm going to put this one down. When this foot pulls, it completely is unweighted. As soon as you break contact with the ground, you're done with the foot. So the hamstring, not you, the hamstring, your hamstring, goes like this to do that, to bring the ankle back under the hip, simply because the hamstring itself closes the leg. So in running, you fall, you pull, and this ankle's completely relaxed. So then you can say, well, what about this ankle? So this ankle, if I did nothing with it in flight, once gravity brings it to the pose, once my hamstring gets me to pose, my hamstring lets go, gravity puts the foot down. If I do absolutely nothing, then the foot will actually be placed in the right place at the right time. That took me a long time, just so you guys know. But your limiting factor isn't your ankle, it's you letting go of the foot. So then I would do practices like this. So try this with me, guys. It's a lot of fun. Just keep your knees bent, look straight ahead. Lead with your hips. Hips, now pull. See? Try separating your feet like this now, getting a little closer to the running. So now separate your feet. Now, as your hips go forward, you're going to pull. So, you see, you almost feel like you're going to trip, right? If you really fall and do nothing with your feet, if you just fall and let them pull, they don't need to pull that high. We're not going anywhere, we're right here. So now try it from your running pose. Just let your body fall forward, pull. You see? I didn't think about where are my ankles, are they tight, where's the ground. I thought of nothing but up. I have one job. Falling is not a job, falling you allow. Gravity's already here, you allow it. Right now we're all resisting falling. When you stand, you have both feet on the ground and you are purposely holding yourself up, right? Otherwise we'd all like stand like this. So we're always not falling. So falling is a thought, it's a feeling. It's you allow it to happen. And it's weird because in the beginning you're like, I've never thought about falling. But if you do that, you simply let go and pull your foot. Then you're using all these natural abilities that you're born with. Meaning we all have muscle elasticity. Our hamstring already knows how to pull. Balance is already innate with our arms by our side. You're letting go of unnecessary movements, and when you do that, then only what needs to happen happens. So that's how you let go of injuries as well, by the way. So if I'm a person that's like my ankles are always tight, I always have plantar fasciitis, I always have shin splints, my T-band, whatever, it's all from the same thing, is that instead of you allowing yourself to just let go and accelerate with gravity, right? How do I move forward in running? Gravity. And then the foot pulls. The pull you already have. It's a blueprint, meaning it's a response that we all have. If you've ever just tripped and fallen just walking, your foot will pull. That's what you do. And so we're developing a sensation that we already have. So it's not about how much strength training do I need? Because we use 10% active hamstring in running. If your legs are good, now, let me say this. I love strength training, and I think it's an essential part of people's practice. I just want you to know for yourself that what's limiting you in your run, why you're getting tired in your run, it's probably not from strength training, it's probably from trying to run with your legs. So say I was out running and you saw me running, you tell me, do I look relaxed and comfortable? Or do I look like my legs are going to be tired? Versus if I came by you like this. You see? It's the difference of using elasticity versus using active muscle contraction. So that's very, very important, because when you're running, you should be feeling a light, quick little tap, 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 up, up, up. It's very light and quick. Even if you're running at a high speed or high fall angle, like if you talk to sprinters that just had a really good race, they're like, man, I felt like I was sailing. I was smooth, right? They're not like, man, I felt like I had bricks on my legs and they were slamming into the ground. You don't hear runners say that are like, had a good race that day. They were like, man, I felt like I had a sail and I was flying and I was smooth and I was skimming off the ground, right? Are you feeling like that when you run? Because that's really important. So if I'm feeling tired, I'm probably going, too much time on the ground instead of going up, 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 right? And all of it is really in the training. So here's what's important. How much strength training do you actually need? It's a great question. I say at least 2 days. At least 2 days of like 10 reps, 2 sets. Nothing insane. On my 30-day reboot, I feel like a commercial, but I promise you guys, on my 30-day reboot, I have skill, strength, and self-care. Because here's the thing, for runners, we need foot strength, we need hip stability and strength, very important. We do need strength in the hamstring, 1,000%, but we want to make sure not to overload, right? Like, we don't need to be bodybuilders, and we don't need to spot train. So one of the things that's really fun, and what I've put in the reboot, it's totally free, by the way, and it's a lot of fun, is exercises that will actually help you with your running. And so they're great. They're body weight, and they're just to help you feel more and more how to use muscle elasticity and develop it. So if my legs are getting tired, probably less of a strength issue in my legs and more of an issue of, instead of using that nice elasticity, you're probably over pulling and staying on the ground too long. So once we correct that, all of a sudden you will have less fatigue in your legs. But yeah, twice a week. But here's what's really cool is, I believe also in the reboot, is after your run, do something for the hip. I do glute bridges are really simple. Straight leg hip lifts are amazing. They're just like a glute bridge, but your legs are straight. See, so I'm teaching myself how to, and when you fall, it's from the hip. So again, this is such a great strength exercise. It is in the reboot, right? But I just want you to understand that all of the skill practice, just even standing pulls, are a strength exercise, because standing here in my pose, I'm strengthening my foot, my stability in my hip, and my ability to hold my ears, shoulders, hips in line. So if you start to think, I just need to do a little bit in my practice. I need to do some elasticity hops. I need to do some pulls. It really will start that foundation for you to be able to hold your run for a longer time. And if you want to run faster, you have to practice falling. It has to be like a mind practice, and then it's not a strength thing, right? Because like I said, if I pushed and you fell over, we both fall over. It's the strength is more in your ability to hold this line. So falling itself is no effort, right? But my ability to hold my own body weight like this is where my strength needs to be. So then what do? I practice holding myself in this nice pose and falling and pulling. So that just then was a strength and elasticity exercise, right? But it's just in a different way than we would think it. So check out that reboot. It's got some great, and it's got some old fashioned. I've got squats and lunges and burpees and push-ups and the good old stuff that we all do. But I have a lot of hip specific exercises and also foot specific, because elasticity requires us to have, we all have elasticity, and we all have the same ability to develop and use our muscle elasticity till we're about 85 years old. Then when you're 85, you have to then even work a little bit more. But I actually had a guy that I worked with from age 85 to 93. He did just fine. Right? He wanted to be, you know what? He wanted his elasticity, just so you know, not so much for running. He did run for the golf course. He wanted to be able to get all the holes. So it's nothing that you don't already have. It's just maybe I haven't worked on developing it. So the simplicity of just ball of foot hops is really the foundation of your run. And everybody wants to stretch. And like I said, I'm not against stretching. But if I'm going to go run a marathon, a mile's 1,500 steps. So I want to feel like, man, I could do this for a long time versus like, is this going to really help me? Like, they're both related, but a little bit different. They have to both go together. So there has to be elasticity development along with the stretching to be able to not, does that make sense? So, and then when do I add my strength training? I like to do it either on a day I'm not running or after my run, those hip lifts, glute bridges, things like that. Because again, I don't want to be fatigued for my run, and strength training is absolutely fatiguing. It's supposed to be your strength training. So I would definitely think about doing that after my run or on an off day. So, and you know, I have things in the reboot like curb runs, which are just amazing strength for your legs. And they're real simple. Just, you know, you find a curb in the parking lot and you just do some of this stuff. So the more you kind of get into just the movement of it, and you'll realize, oh, it's not that I didn't have the strength, I just wasn't falling, or I just wasn't using elasticity. Last question, which is a really good one also, I try to keep these not so long, I promise, was what's the difference of elasticity for jumping versus running? So very good question. If I'm going to jump, then I want to be elastic, but I'm going up, right? Here's the thing with running. We have to keep our knees bent. That's the difference between a jump and a hop. So leaving my knees bent allows me, you see, that's elasticity, and it's very low, you see, barely leaving the ground. This is jumping, and it's going to give me, if I run like that, it's going to give me plantar fasciitis. It's just too much, right? So I'm in a room that's a little bit shorter than me, maybe a ½ inch. My knees have to stay bent all the time. And remember, in place, we're not going anywhere. So it's a hopping, but that hopping, you have to see and feel that that distance is going to be actually springing forward. Because remember, I'm falling. So yes, I'm pulling my foot using elasticity, but only because I'm springing forward. You see, I didn't bounce up, I went this way. And that's an elasticity drill, so that when you're running, you're like, oh, that's what it feels like. All of these drills are so that when you are running, you also have the ability to be like, oh man, my legs are tired, right? I must be over pulling, or maybe I'm bent over. Well, bring yourself up. Get your elbows back under you. You know what I mean? So you've got to do some of this. Strength training to me is being able to hold also just this part. So a lot of the exercises, keep in mind, it's not body parts that we're trying to develop, because we're one body. We're one body weight, we're one unit. It's to help you work as a whole unit. So when any part of that unit is off chain, is off the line, you correct it, and it's like, oh. You see, I should always be able to get back to the 1, 2, 3, right? If I'm standing in my pose, fall, 1, 2, 3, 3 pulls. I should be able, in my running, oh my gosh, my legs are behind me, they feel bad. Get back there, right? Same thing, you got a side stitch, you're getting out of breath. Fix your line. You can pull in place, take a breath, and get back. But if you start to use your body weight as a unit and you're focused on just what you're supposed to do, you'll probably find you'll lose some tension in your head and neck. you'll be like, oh, okay, I can actually just breathe into a rhythm with my run, right? You can control your run. Don't try to control all of your movements. That's so cool to think about. Like, so many things are happening just because it's supposed to happen. So if you let go of trying to control movements that you don't need to control, it's so much more fun. Same with the fall. You have to fall a little bit out of control to realize you are actually in control. So I practice a lot, just like, woo, to just feel that sensation. So when I'm running, it's a lot more fun to run. I'm always feeling the fall. My feet feel like they're keeping up with me. The challenge, and I know, I hear this from you guys all the time, I'm falling out of control only in the beginning. As soon as you start to realize what it is you're doing, you are in control. That's the fun part. So definitely worth the practice. All right, guys, thank you. Like I said, we've got that great reboot on YouTube. But if you really want to go to that next level, we have a 12-week membership where it's just amazing. You show me your running, you show me your drills, you show me your check-ins. We work together. I do Zooms where I watch you. I'm watching your videos anyway, so it's a personal interaction in a group setting because we have a great community as well, and everyone's learning the same thing. It's just a lot of fun. So runrx.fit, check it out. It's worth your time. And it's a lot of fun because you guys are out there suffering, and I'm like, I can totally help. So reach out. Look forward to seeing you. Thank you.